My child, come, sit with me for a while. Let the noise of the world recede, just for a moment. Allow the frantic rhythm of your own heart to slow and listen, not with your ears, but with that deeper, truer part of you that has felt a subtle, persistent stirring for so long. Have you ever stood in a silent forest and felt, more than heard, the hum of life itself, a vibration that exists beneath the sound of the wind or the rustle of leaves? That is the kind of listening I am asking of you now. I want to speak to you today not as a preacher from a pulpit, but as a father who has walked a long, dusty road and has learned to recognize the signposts of the Almighty in the most unexpected places. And I see one of those signposts planted firmly, undeniably, in the landscape of your life right now. Have you ever felt like you are navigating a path that no one else can see? A trail marked with challenges so uniquely tailored to your own fears and strengths that to even try and explain it to another would be to diminish its profound, isolating reality. If that feeling resonates within you, if it touches a familiar chord in the quiet solitude of your soul, then I need you to understand this. What you have been experiencing is not a sign of abandonment, but the unmistakable evidence of a divine invitation. You are not lost. You are being personally, specifically, and lovingly summoned. This very moment, the one in which you read these words, is not merely another tick of the clock, another grain of sand falling through the hourglass of your life. This is what the ancients, in their wisdom, called kairos. It is not chronological time, not the mere succession of seconds and minutes. It is sacred time, opportune time, a tear in the fabric of the ordinary, through which the light of eternity is pouring, meant for you and you alone. These moments are precious, and they are fleeting. They are windows of divine appointment that open for a season, and it is the great challenge and privilege of our lives to recognize them before they close. This isn't about satisfying some idle curiosity about the future or seeking a momentary comfort. This concerns the very architecture of your soul, the eternal purpose for which you were breathed into existence. So hear me, my child, for this is the echo of a father's voice, calling you by name, asking you to turn from the shadowed path of your own understanding and step into the brilliant, clarifying light of His. This is more than a lesson. It is more than a sermon or a gentle word of caution. It is a commissioning. It is the drawing of a line in the sands of your life, a definitive turning point from which everything that comes after will be different. I want you to look around you, but not just with your physical eyes. See with the eyes of your spirit. The people who currently occupy the rooms of your life, the specific circumstances that press in on you from all sides, the frustrations, the unexpected joys, the closed doors, the surprising openings. None of it is accidental. They are messengers, every one of them. They are pieces of a divine mosaic being assembled around you, and you are the central figure. I believe, with a conviction forged in the fires of 1,000 answered and unanswered prayers, that God has assigned angelic companions to your journey. Imagine, if you will, 2 celestial guardians walking beside you. One carries the scroll, the divine blueprint of the life He envisioned for you before the foundations of the world were laid. On it are written the triumphs, the lessons, the relationships, the sacred duties that constitute your highest calling. This angel is a constant reminder of your potential, of the masterpiece you were created to be. The other is a warrior, a guardian whose shield and sword are at the ready. But here is the profound mystery. Their divine protection, their active intervention, is not automatic. It is activated by the choices you make, by the steps you take in faith, by your willingness to answer the call you feel resonating in your spirit. They are waiting. They are watching, not with judgment, but with breathless anticipation, to see how you will respond to this kairos moment. You've always known you were different, haven't you, my precious one? It was never a feeling of superiority or arrogance. It was a quiet, sometimes burdensome awareness. A certain depth in your soul that saw the world not just for what it was, but for what it could be. A clarity of perception that often felt more like a wound than a gift, for it allowed you to see the brokenness in things and in people with a painful acuity. The difficult paths you were forced to travel, the seasons of suffering that felt so overwhelmingly personal and profound, that was never, ever a sign of God's displeasure. Please, hear this and let it settle deep into your heart. That was His forge. Think of a master blacksmith. He takes a piece of raw, unformed iron and thrusts it into the hottest part of the fire. He is not punishing the metal, he is preparing it. The intense heat makes it malleable, ready to be shaped. He then pulls it from the flames, not to let it rest, but to place it upon the anvil and strike it with his hammer. Blow after blow, with sparks flying, he shapes it, strengthens it, gives it form and purpose. That, my child, is what has been happening to you. You were not being broken, you were being built. Every difficult conversation, every lonely night, every moment of betrayal or confusion was a carefully calibrated blow from the hammer of the divine craftsman, shaping you for a purpose far grander, far more glorious than you could ever have conceived for yourself. You are being made ready to hold the weight of the blessings that are coming your way. My child, if the first step of this journey is to recognize the sacred summons echoing in your soul, then the second, and perhaps the more difficult, is to look back without flinching at the very ground you have just crossed. I am speaking of the landscape of your suffering. I ask you to do this not to reopen old wounds, but to finally understand the holy purpose hidden within them. For I can tell you with the unwavering certainty of a man who has held the hands of the dying and blessed the heads of the newborn, the God I serve is not a distant spectator to your pain. He is an intimate participant. He is the divine witness who has been present for every moment you thought you were utterly alone. He has seen it all. I want you to let the magnitude of that statement wash over you. Every tear you have shed in the suffocating silence of your room, when the grief was so heavy you could not even form a prayer, He saw it. More than that, He collected it, each one a precious jewel of your endurance held in the treasury of His heart. Every moment you felt invisible, passed over, forgotten by the world, as life paraded by without you, He saw you. You were never invisible to Him. In those moments, His gaze was fixed upon you with an intensity and a love that would overwhelm you if you could but feel its fullness. Every whispered plea for help in the dead of night, when the darkness felt like a physical entity, a crushing weight upon your chest, He heard it. It was not lost to the void. It ascended to Him as the most sacred of incenses. I assure you, as a humble servant of the God who misses nothing, not a single pang of your sorrow went unnoticed. He remembers. He remembers the specific ache of a particular betrayal, the sharp sting of an unjust word, the long, dull throbbing of a dream that died. Your entire past is not a closed book He has filed away. It is a story He knows by heart, a story He holds in the palms of His merciful hands, right alongside the glorious, unfolding future He has meticulously planned for you. You have faced trials that would have irrevocably broken others. You have walked through flames that have consumed lesser spirits. You have survived what many could not, and this is not by accident. It is because you are not, and have never been, destined for an ordinary life. An ordinary life does not require such extraordinary preparation. A shallow vessel cannot contain a deep blessing. You carry a specific, consecrated purpose, a vocation whispered into the fabric of your soul before you were even formed, and the journey to that purpose required a passage through the forge. Let us speak more of this forge, this crucible of affliction. It is a terrifying place. It is loud, with the sound of hammering, and filled with a heat that feels unbearable. When you are inside it, all you know is the fire and the pressure. You cannot see the hand of the blacksmith. You cannot understand the design he is working towards. All you feel is the painful, relentless process of being unmade and remade. The fire is meant to burn away the dross, the impurities that cling to us all. It burns away the pride that tells us we can do it all on our own. It burns away the fear that keeps us clinging to a safety that is only an illusion. It burns away the false identities we construct for ourselves, the titles, the roles, the expectations of others, until only the pure, essential core of who we are in Him remains. And then comes the hammering upon the anvil. My child, this is the part that feels most like punishment. These are the sharp, sudden blows of life, the loss, the failure, the rejection. Each blow feels like it will be the one that shatters you completely, but the master craftsman knows the precise tensile strength of the material he is working with. He knows exactly how much pressure to apply. He is not striking you to break you. He is striking you to shape you, to strengthen you, to temper you. The blows that you thought were meant to destroy you were, in fact, the very instruments of your making. They were compacting your spiritual fiber, making you resilient, capable of withstanding pressures you cannot yet imagine. You were being prepared to carry the weight of glory. Because of this intense process, some old ties in your life had to be severed. Do you understand? It may have felt like loss. It may have felt like people were walking away from you, or that you were being isolated. In truth, it was a holy act of protection. Not because God was pushing you into loneliness, but because He was shielding your sacred calling. To build a new, holy temple, the old ground must first be cleared. He could not pour new wine into old wineskins. The person you were, attached to the people and places of your past in the way that you were, could not have contained the anointing that is coming. He often removes things and people from our lives not as a judgment upon them, but as a necessary preparation for our own next step. He was making space. He was creating a holy vacancy in your life that only He could fill. This is the divine pattern of His providence. This is what has been happening to you. You have been fundamentally transformed. Think about it. Your reactions to life's provocations are not what they once were. The fire has burned away the quick, reactive anger, leaving behind a deeper, more considered strength. The hammering has pounded out the brittle fragility, replacing it with a quiet resilience. Hardships are God's great illuminators. They don't just inflict pain, they reveal truth. They tear away the comforting, colorful illusions of this world and expose the stark, unshakable reality of what is eternal. You now possess an inner fortitude, a spiritual gravity, and a clarity of wisdom that can only be earned through such a trial by fire. The person you were before the forge could not have handled the blessings that are now at your doorstep. The person you have become is finally, truly ready. And others are beginning to sense this shift in you, are they not? They may not have the words for it. They may simply feel a different weight in your presence, see a different light in your eyes. That is why your world is shifting. People and opportunities are reacting to the new spiritual frequency you are now emitting. Stepping into the greater plans of God is not for the untested novice. It is a holy ground reserved for those who have wrestled with their own angels and demons in the dark and have emerged, perhaps limping, but leaning wholly on Him. And you, my precious child, you who have suffered in silence, grown weary on the long road, and learned to nurse your own wounds, you have proven your capacity. In the moments you thought you were failing, you were actually qualifying. You did not surrender your faith, even when it was just a flickering ember. That stubborn, tenacious hope is precisely what has prepared you. The forge has done its work. The shaping is complete. The time for cooling and tempering is ending. The time for purpose is about to begin. My child, now that we have walked back through the smoke and embers of your past, not to dwell in the ashes, but to understand the alchemy that took place there, it is time to turn our faces forward. It is time to speak of the why the fire, why the hammer, why the profound and painful reshaping of your very soul. It was all for this moment, and for all the moments that will spring forth from it. It was for the unveiling of your purpose. Purpose is not something you invent for yourself. It is not a goal you set based on ambition or a desire for the world's acclaim. True, divine purpose is something you discover. It is a sacred secret that has been woven into the very fabric of your being from eternity, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. And that moment, my child, is now drawing near. The years of trial were not a diversion from your life's path. They were the path itself, leading you directly to this holy ground of understanding. You could not have comprehended the magnitude of your calling before. You would have recoiled from it, felt unworthy of it, or perhaps even tried to mold it to fit your own smaller, more comfortable ambitions. But the person you are today, the person forged in affliction, is finally ready to receive it. Think of it like this. A great artist wishes to create a masterpiece on a stained glass window for a cathedral. He doesn't use plain, clear glass. He chooses pieces that have been infused with color, pieces that have been fired at immense temperatures, transforming them from simple sand into something that can hold and refract light in 1,000 glorious ways. Your suffering, your trials, your unique journey, these are the colors that have been fired into the very essence of your soul. You are no longer a plain sheet of glass. You are a vibrant, complex, and beautiful piece of stained glass, uniquely prepared to catch the light of the sun and cast a beauty into the world that no other soul can replicate. That is your purpose. It is not just what you do, but who you are because of what you've been through. This purpose will not be revealed to you in a thunderclap from heaven or written in fiery letters across the sky. The unveiling is often much quieter, more intimate, and it begins with a fundamental shift in your perception. The very nature of the challenges before you is beginning to change, is it not? Look closely. The trials of the past were about endurance. They were about survival, about holding on to faith when all seemed lost. They were questions. Will you trust me in the darkness? Will you hold fast when the storm rages? Will you allow me to reshape you even when it is painful? You have answered those questions with your very life, with your tears, with your tenacious hope. Now, a new set of challenges and opportunities is beginning to emerge. These are not questions of endurance, but of stewardship. The questions are changing. Now that you have been strengthened, how will you use that strength to lift others? Now that your heart has been broken and remade with greater compassion, how will you minister to the brokenhearted? Now that you have navigated the darkness, will you be a light to guide those who are lost behind you? Do you see the difference? You are moving from a season of merely bearing your own cross into a season of helping others carry theirs. You are transitioning from being the one tested to being the one entrusted. This is a critical transition. It is no longer solely about your own survival and sanctification. It is about the influence, the light, and the specific grace that God now wishes to flow through you to a world that is desperate for authentic hope. The path ahead is profoundly different from the one that lies behind. The old path was an internal one, a journey through the wilderness of your own heart. The new path is an external one, leading you out into the lives of others. The old path was about carrying your pain. The new path is about carrying the influence and the anointing that God bestows upon His proven children. You may feel a sense of trepidation at this. You may think, who am I to do this? I am still wounded, still healing. My child, your wounds are now your greatest qualifications. In the economy of God, our deepest wounds, once surrendered to Him for healing, become our most powerful weapons. They become the source of our greatest empathy. You can now look into the eyes of someone who is suffering and say, not with the hollow platitudes of theory, but with the quiet authority of experience, I know, I have been there. There is a way through, and you are not alone. That is a ministry that no seminary can teach, no book can impart. It is a holy anointing earned in the forge of affliction. Your scars are not signs of damage. They are proof of your healing and testaments to the faithfulness of God. They are maps that will help others navigate their own wilderness. Do not be afraid of the influence that is beginning to gather around you. Do not shrink from the new opportunities that are presenting themselves. This is the natural result of the spiritual work that has been done within you. When a piece of iron is magnetized, it doesn't have to try to attract other metallic objects. It simply does. It has been fundamentally changed at a molecular level. In the same way, you have been spiritually magnetized. You will begin to draw people and situations to you that are in need of the specific strength, wisdom, and compassion that you now possess. Your only task is to remain surrendered to the one who magnetized you, to rely completely on him. The journey is no longer about your strength, but about your willingness to be a conduit for his. This is your time. It is time to lift your eyes from the dust of your past struggles and fix them on the horizon of your holy purpose. The shaping has been completed. The unveiling has begun. You are stepping onto a new kind of battlefield, where the goal is not to survive, but to lead, not to endure, but to empower, not just to be blessed, but to be a blessing. Walk forward now, not in the memory of your old pain, but in the reality of your new purpose. My child, as the dawn of purpose begins to break across the landscape of your life, you will start to feel a change that is as real as the ground beneath your feet, yet as intangible as the air you breathe. It is a sense of gravity, a spiritual weight settling upon your shoulders. Do not be alarmed by this feeling. This is the sensation of a new mantle being placed upon you. It is not a burden meant to crush you, but rather the glorious weight of a trust bestowed, a sacred responsibility given by the Almighty Himself. The old, familiar anxieties that once gnawed at you, fears for your own survival, worries about your future will begin to recede. In their place, a new and holier set of concerns will arise, concerns not for yourself, but for the very people God is now beginning to place in your path. This is the first sign that you are truly stepping into your calling. Let us speak of this new mantle, this influence that is beginning to emanate from you. It is crucial that you understand its nature, for it is unlike any power the world recognizes. This is not an authority to be grasped, a position to be coveted, or a weapon to be wielded for your own advancement. It is a fragile, living thing, a sacred trust that must be stewarded with immense humility and constant prayer. It does not flow from charisma or clever words or strategic networking. It flows from your transformed character. It is the quiet authority that radiates from a soul that has wrestled with God in the darkness and survived. It is the profound compassion that pours from a heart that has been shattered into 1,000 pieces and then lovingly put back together by the Master's hands. People will be drawn to this. They will come to you, often without knowing why, seeking not your opinion, but the peace they feel in your presence. They will see a light in your eyes that reminds them of a home they have forgotten. They will hear in your voice an echo of a truth their souls long for. This is the magnetism of a surrendered life. Your greatest power will not be in what you say, but in the spiritual authenticity of who you have become. Your testimony is not a story you tell, it is a reality you embody. Therefore, guard this authenticity with your life. Nurture it in the secret place of prayer. Protect it from the insidious whispers of pride and self-congratulation. It is your most precious gift, and it is the very instrument through which God will perform His works. However, you must be prepared. With a new mantle comes a new kind of warfare. The battles you fought in the past were largely internal. You fought against despair, against bitterness, against the temptation to abandon your faith. It was a war for your own soul. Now, the enemy's strategy will shift. Seeing that he could not destroy you in the forge, he will now seek to corrupt you on the field of ministry. He will no longer attack your survival, he will attack your mission. His new weapons are far more subtle and therefore far more dangerous. He will sow seeds of pride, whispering, "Look at what you have accomplished. Look at how far you have come." People respect you. This is a deadly poison, for the moment you begin to believe the work is yours, the flow of divine power ceases. He will tempt you with the allure of comfort, murmuring, "You have suffered enough, you have earned a rest. Let others carry the load for a while." But a mantle is not a coat you can hang up at your convenience. It is a second skin you must live in. And he will try to twist your sacred purpose into a platform for self-aggrandizement, urging you to build your own name, your own following, your own little kingdom. This is the most ancient of temptations, to take what God has given and use it for your own glory. This is a more sophisticated, more insidious kind of warfare, fought not in the valley of despair, but on the sunlit uplands of apparent success. Every new opportunity that comes your way, every person who seeks your counsel, every resource placed in your hands, each one is a test of stewardship. The question is no longer if you will survive, but how you will serve. When people come to you for guidance, broken and lost, will you point them to the healer, or will you subtly point them to your own wisdom, becoming a crutch for them instead of a signpost to him? When doors of opportunity open, will you walk through them with the humble intention of building his kingdom, or with a secret desire to expand your own territory? This is the core challenge of this new season. It requires a constant, moment-by-moment, resurrendering of your will. It is a daily choice to remain a clean conduit, not a clogged reservoir. And my child, I must be honest with you about one of the most difficult aspects of wearing this new mantle, a unique kind of loneliness. In your previous season of suffering, you may have felt isolated, but now you may experience the profound loneliness of leadership. While you may be surrounded by more people than ever before, you may also feel that there are fewer people with whom you can be completely vulnerable. The decisions you must make are weightier. The spiritual responsibility you carry for others is heavier. You can no longer share every doubt or struggle indiscriminately, for you understand that your words now carry a weight that could either strengthen or shake the fragile faith of those who look to you. This is not a call to be inauthentic, but a call to a deeper level of discretion and wisdom. It is also an invitation into a deeper intimacy with the Father. The secret place of prayer, which was once your hospital room and your refuge from the storm, must now become your command center. It is where you will receive your strategy, where you will unload your burdens, and where you will find the strength to carry the weight of the mantle for another day. Your dependence on him must become absolute, for he is the only one who truly understands the path you now walk. Do not fear this weight. See it for what it is, a sign of his profound faith in you. He does not give such mantles lightly. He gives them to his tested and proven children. He is not asking you to carry this glorious weight alone. He is asking to carry it through you. The strength will be his. The wisdom will be his. The results will be his. The glory will be his. Your part, my beloved child, is simply to keep your shoulders surrendered, to keep saying yes every morning, and to bear this holy mantle with the humility and the grace of one who knows they are utterly unworthy, yet wonderfully chosen. My child, as you grow accustomed to the sacred weight of the mantle upon your shoulders, you will begin to notice another, more subtle transformation taking place. It will not be a change in the world around you, but a profound change in the way you perceive that world. The gift that follows the acceptance of a holy purpose is the gift of discerning sight. Your physical eyes see the surface of things, the smiles, the handshakes, the carefully constructed facades of human life. But God will now begin to open the eyes of your spirit, allowing you to see the deeper currents, the invisible realities that flow beneath the surface of the ordinary. This is a holy and formidable gift, and one that must be understood with great care. It is not the power to read minds or to predict the future. It is something far more profound. It is the ability to perceive the spirit behind the action, the motive behind the word, the ache behind the anger. It is the grace to look upon a person and see not just the character they present to the world, but the wounded child, the yearning soul, and the divine potential that lies hidden within them. Where others see a difficult colleague, you will begin to see a soul tormented by insecurity. Where others see an enemy, you will begin to see a person captive to a spirit of bitterness that is destroying them from the inside out. This sight changes everything. It makes judgment impossible and makes compassion inevitable. Think of it as learning a new language. At first, the world around you was speaking in a tongue you could not understand. The actions and reactions of people, the sudden turns of fortune, the painful trials, they all seemed random, chaotic, a cacophony of meaningless noise. But now, having been tuned in the forge and consecrated for service, you are beginning to hear the grammar of the Spirit. You are starting to understand the language of silence. You will find yourself in conversations where you are listening not just to the words being spoken, but to the silence between the words, for it is there that the truth of a person's heart often resides. You will learn to recognize the frequency of peace, the static of anxiety, the jarring dissonance of deceit. This gift of discernment is your primary tool of navigation in this new season. The world operates on logic, on data, on visible evidence. But the kingdom of God operates on discernment, on faith, on the unseen realities. You will be faced with decisions where, on the surface, one path seems logical and prudent, but in your spirit, you feel a subtle check, a quiet no. Conversely, an opportunity may arise that seems foolish and risky to the world, yet you will feel an undeniable peace, a gentle yes resonating deep within you. You must learn to trust this inner witness above all other voices. It is the Holy Spirit's guidance system, calibrated specifically for your unique journey. Honoring its quiet nudges will be the key to fulfilling your purpose and avoiding the subtle traps the enemy will now lay for you. With this new sight comes the critical responsibility of discerning spirits. As your influence grows, you will attract all manner of people and proposals. Some will be sent from God, divine connections and holy opportunities designed to advance His kingdom. Others will be distractions, sent from the enemy but cloaked in the language of piety and promise. And still others will simply be the product of good-willed but misguided human ambition. Your task is to differentiate between the three, the divine, the demonic, and the merely human. How? The divine will always bear the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. It will feel clean. It will lead to greater freedom and a deeper dependence on God. The demonic, however subtle, will always carry an underlying current of fear, pressure, confusion, pride, or control. It will seek to bind you, to hurry you, to isolate you, or to exalt you. And the merely human will often feel hollow. It may be a good idea, but it lacks the spark of divine life, the anointing that makes a thing truly fruitful for the kingdom. Learning to wait, to test the spirits, to not be moved by outward appearances will be one of your most vital disciplines. My child, this spiritual clarity is not a permanent state you achieve, but a precious gift that must be cultivated daily. It requires intentional stillness. The noise of the world, the constant demands on your time, the endless stream of information. All of it will dull your spiritual senses if you allow it. You must now become a fierce guardian of your own solitude. The secret place of prayer, which was once your refuge, now becomes your observation post. It is where you clear away the static of the day and recalibrate your spirit to the frequency of heaven. This new mantle requires not more frantic activity, but more profound and intentional stillness. It is in the silence that God will sharpen your vision and attune your ears to His whisper. You will also begin to see the hand of God in what the world calls coincidence. The unexpected phone call, the chance meeting, the book that falls off the shelf. You will see these not as random occurrences, but as divinely orchestrated appointments. You will begin to live in a state of quiet wonder, realizing that you are a character in a story far grander than you ever imagined, and the author is leaving you clues and signposts at every turn. This is the joy of walking in purpose. Life ceases to be a series of accidents and becomes a magnificent adventure of co-creation with the divine. Embrace this new sight, my beloved child. Do not fear what it reveals. Ask God to give you His eyes and His heart for the people you meet. Use this gift not to place yourself above others, but to kneel down and serve them more effectively. For true spiritual sight is not given for the elevation of the seer, but for the healing and liberation of those who are seen. My beloved child, we have journeyed far together. We have stood at the threshold of your sacred summons and heard its echo in your soul. We have walked through the fiery memory of your afflictions, not to relive the pain, but to honor the forge that shaped you. We have watched as the veil was lifted, revealing the first light of your holy purpose. We have felt the glorious weight of the new mantle settling upon your shoulders, and we have spoken of the discerning sight that now allows you to perceive the world with the eyes of the Spirit. And now, we arrive at the final landscape of this journey, the place to which all the other paths were leading. It is not a place of striving, but of surrender. It is not a place of action, but of being. It is the riverbank of the grace of God. For all that you have been through, all the shaping and the strengthening, was for this one ultimate purpose, to make you a vessel strong enough and pure enough to be placed into the mighty current of God's divine will and to be carried by it. Think of it. In the beginning, you were like a rough piece of wood, tossed about by the chaotic waves of life. Then, in the forge, you were hollowed out, carved, and sanded down, a painful, arduous process. Now, you are no longer a piece of driftwood, but a canoe, a vessel specifically designed for this river. Your purpose is not to paddle frantically against the current, nor is it to try and chart your own course. Your ultimate purpose, the final and most liberating lesson, is to simply get in, lay down the oars of your own effort, and allow the river of His grace to carry you where it will. This, my child, is the most difficult step of all. It is the paradox of the spiritual life that the greatest strength is found in the final act of surrender. After all the fighting, all the enduring, all the learning, the last enemy to be conquered is your own need for control. It is the subtle, deep-seated desire to understand the map, to know the destination, to be assured of the outcome before you commit. But the river does not offer maps, it only offers itself. To surrender to it is to let go of your need to know why, and to simply trust the who that commands the current. It is to accept that His wisdom is infinitely greater than your understanding, and His destination for you is more glorious than any you could have planned for yourself. What does it look like to live in this state of surrendered flow? It is to wake each morning not with a list of tasks to be accomplished for God, but with a single prayer whispered from the heart. Lord, what are we doing together today? Use me as you will. It means approaching every conversation, every task, every human encounter as a potential divine appointment. The person who tests your patience in the marketplace may be the very soul you are meant to show an ounce of grace to today. The unexpected interruption to your plans may be the very redirection of God, leading you to an encounter you never would have had otherwise. You begin to see God's will not as a grand 5-year plan, but as the next simple, loving, obedient step right in front of you. Life in the river is a life of profound peace, a peace that the world cannot understand because it is not based on circumstances. It is the peace of knowing that the outcome is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to remain in the vessel, to keep your heart open and your spirit yielded. When storms come, and they will, the river may become turbulent, but you will find that the vessel He has made of you is unsinkable, and the current beneath you, though powerful, is unerringly wise. You will learn to rest in the midst of the storm, secure in the knowledge that the one who commands the winds and the waves is also the one who commands the current carrying you. And here is the most beautiful mystery of all. As you surrender to this flow, you will find that you are, without any effort of your own, accomplishing the very purpose for which you were made. The influence, the wisdom, the healing, it will all flow through you as naturally as the water flows around you. You will become a source of life for others, not by trying to give them water, but by simply being a vessel carried along by the river of life itself. People will come to you, thirsty and weary, and by simply being in your presence, they will be refreshed. You will find yourself saying the right word at the right time, not because you are clever, but because the wisdom of the river is flowing through you. You will bring peace to chaotic situations, not because you are a master negotiator, but because you carry the peace of the river within you. The ultimate purpose, you see, was never a specific title or a list of accomplishments. It was never about becoming a great leader, a renowned teacher, or a famous healer. Those are merely the potential byproducts. The true, core purpose was always to achieve this state of being, a completely yielded vessel, a pure conduit through whom the love, the grace, and the power of Jesus Christ could flow unimpeded into a thirsty and broken world. And so, my precious child, here we stand at the water's edge. The journey through the forge is complete. The mantle is on your shoulders. The sight has been given. The vessel is ready. The river is waiting. Do not be afraid. Step in. Let go of the shore of your own understanding. Lay down the heavy oars of your own effort and control. Trust the current. It knows the way. It flows from the very heart of the Father, and it leads to the shores of eternity, and it will accomplish wonders along the way that you cannot even begin to imagine. Your journey is not ending here. It is just truly beginning. Go now and be a blessing, simply by allowing yourself to be carried.